British Empire is panicked. NATO chiefs, British generals, even the head of MI6 coming out of the shadows, all screaming for escalation with Russia. They're not afraid of Russia. They're afraid of a PDF file released quietly in Washington last week, which signals the silent assassination of their entire financial model, which declares that sovereign nations come first, not globalist institutions.
Is Britain's real fear Russia? Or is it something more cynical? In this video, Suzanne Kokinda discloses the true driver behind hostility towards Russia. We also address the leadership principles of resource management and public priorities. Before we get into the details, if you love diving into political issues and enjoy hearing a principled take on them, then hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to join the conversation. It will help our channel reach a wider audience.
Empire is panicked. NATO chiefs, British generals, even the head of MI6 coming out of the shadows, all screaming for escalation with Russia. They want you to look at the missiles. They want you to think that this is about territory or democracy. Well, it's not. They're not afraid of Russia. They're afraid of a PDF file released quietly in Washington last week, which signals the silent assassination of their entire financial model. The weapon that is terrifying London isn't a hypersonic missile. It's this. Now, it sounds boring. It looks bureaucratic. But inside these pages is the end of the City of London's mandate to loot the American economy. Don't let the name fool you. This is the economic equivalent of a declaration of war on the financier elite. It declares that from now on, people and economic growth come first, not financial parasites. And it comes right on the heels of the administration's national security strategy, which declares that sovereign nations come first, not globalist institutions. These were released within a week of each other, and these two documents reassert that American principles will now govern us, not imperial principles. So here's what we're going to cover today: how London's panic is out in the open, and the Russians know it; what Trump's new economic strategy is, people, not bankers, first; and that phase one of that strategy is the war against the cartels. So Trump's current pressure campaign on Ukraine is forcing Europe, and in particular the British, right out in the open. So open that they're telling their people to prepare for war. Over the past week, Trump has been brutally honest with Zelensky. You're losing, you need to hold elections, and oh, by the way, you're completely corrupt. The Wall Street Journal reported that the Trump team is telling Zelensky, either you negotiate on territory or you get no security guarantees. Now, this also reflects the reality of Trump's new national security strategy that I covered last week. Trump is no longer operating under the transatlantic alliance playbook. As one dispirited European diplomat blurted out at a DC Christmas party, the Western alliance is over. The relationship will never be the same again. So the split is out in the open, and Trump is pushing a negotiated settlement which recognizes Russia's legitimate interests. But the Europeans keep egging Zelensky to continue the war. And the British are the most overt. Look at this general on Sky News. He didn't talk about peace. He warned that the United Kingdom's sons and daughters need to be ready to fight.
Perhaps the most obvious impact on all of us will be the cost of building this resilience. Sons and daughters, colleagues, veterans will all have a part to play, to build, to serve, and if necessary, to fight. And more families will know what sacrifice for our nation means.
And it's not just the military. The new head of MI6, whose grandfather, by the way, was on the side of the Ukrainian Nazis, warned, we are now operating in a space between peace and war. We all continue to face the menace of an aggressive, expansionist, and revisionist Russia seeking to subjugate Ukraine and harass NATO. But Putin should be in no doubt our support is enduring. The pressure we apply on Ukraine's behalf will be sustained. Guess who else sees that it is the British who are keeping the war going? Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, and they're saying the quiet part out loud, as this headline shows, that they say that it's the United Kingdom which is undermining Trump's Ukraine peace efforts. And they also report that the United Kingdom has pushed the European Union to seize Russian assets, not just to fund Ukraine, but to kill any U.S.-led settlement. And they also report that it's the United States which was opposed to that. So the real strategic battle lines have not been this clear in a century. Britain is pushing war, the United States is pushing peace, and Russia is fingering the British. Now, we've established that the British are openly preparing for war while Trump pushes peace. But here's where most coverage stops and where we're just getting started. The real question is, why are they so desperate? What makes the British establishment willing to risk their own sons and daughters in a shooting war with a nuclear power? It's not ideology, it's not democracy, it's something much more concrete and much more vulnerable. Because when the empire starts talking openly about war, it's because they're losing economic control. Because what I'm about to show you next is the document that has London more terrified than they are of any Russians. It's the Financial Stability Oversight Council 2025 annual report. For decades, financial stability in the United States has meant one thing: save the big money center banks at all costs, bail out Wall Street, protect the derivatives markets. Meanwhile, the real economy, manufacturing, wages, household income, this is all sacrificed to keep the casino running. But the 2025 FSOC report flips this on its head. It explicitly prioritizes economic stability and security and household income stability over the financial system. Treasury Secretary Bessent drilled down on that when he addressed the Financial Stability Oversight Council on December 11. He said, the twin priorities of economic growth and economic security will guide the Council's future approach to identifying priorities. Now remember that. Twin priorities of economic growth and security. Then, in his chairperson's letter of introduction, Bessent said, economic security requires the U.S. financial system to reliably provide the resources necessary to enable the real economy to support domestic production capacity, American standard of living, and our core values. And the report also announces the creation of a new household resiliency working group to give priority to people in households, not just financial entities. Now, a normal person would think that all these things are no-brainers. That's what a government should be doing. But here's the brutal truth. That hasn't been the policy of the FSOC. Its policy has been to save the financial parasites.
I remember what it's like when you have to choose between putting food on the table or getting the prescription that you need to stay healthy. And that is not a life that Donald Trump or I want for the citizens in the greatest country in the world. We don't want a single parent or grandparent to have to look at their checking account and decide whether they're going to buy food or whether they're going to buy medicine this month. We are fighting for you every single day.
Now, in there, JD hit two critical pain points: food and healthcare. And add to that housing, and you immediately run into the bigs. Big ag, big pharma, big finance. In other words, the cartels. Cartels are a cornerstone of an imperial financialized system where real economic activity is sacrificed to feed a financial income stream that feeds the mega institutions. And the result is inflation, a hollowed out economy, and no middle class. And that's what this administration is taking head on in critical areas. Start with food. The administration has targeted the beef cartels. Peter Navarro just did a very powerful 1-minute video on X explaining how 4 massive conglomerates, many with deep foreign ties, have controlled over 80% of our beef supply. They underpay the rancher, overcharge you at the grocery store, and that's the definition of a colonial economic policy. The new directive from the administration targets this monopoly directly, treating food security as national security. The second target is Big Pharma and the insurance companies. This is the crown jewel of a financialized economy. They don't produce health, they produce bills. Trump and the team led by RFK Jr. have taken on Big Pharma like no one ever has, and Trump minces no words when it comes to the insurance companies. Here's how Vance put it yesterday.
One of the things the president has said is we have the weirdest health insurance system in the world, where we tax money from all these great Americans out here, and then we give boatloads of money to the insurance companies. Why don't we give that money to the American people and let them buy insurance that works for them and their families?
Third, housing. The FSOC report makes it clear. Household income stability is the goal, but you can't have stable households when BlackRock and foreign hedge funds are buying up entire neighborhoods to turn America into a nation of renters. And the administration has compared the big home building companies to OPEC and challenged them to start building. And finally, the most dangerous cartel of all, the narco-trafficking cartel. Now, it would take a whole broadcast in itself, but the important thing to remember is that all of Trump's actions, declaring fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction, hitting the Venezuelan drug boats, and everything else he's doing on this front, this doesn't just hit at the tragic consequences of drugs. This goes straight at the trillions of dollars of dirty money, which keeps the City of London-centered financial system afloat. See the pattern? Beef, pharma, housing, dope. These aren't just industries, legal or otherwise. They are extraction and control mechanisms of the British system. And breaking them up isn't just good economics. It's a strategic blow to the empire. So when you see the headlines about World War III, don't just look at missiles. Look at the money. When you hear British spooks preparing the population for war, understand what they're really defending. A centuries-old system of financial control that is dying.
President Trump's agenda seems to be about changing how the world's economy works. He wants to see individual nations grow economically, and that the people of those nations are able to benefit from the country's resources and economy. Trump doesn't want the continued economic decline that creates poverty for the hard-working middle class, while the elite and bureaucrats keep taking, leaving the rest of the people to work hard and barely able to see the benefits of their labor. Leaders who care about their nation and the people should not be giving away money in the name of aid and unnecessary wars that do not directly affect them, leaving their own nation in a state of economic decline and the people experiencing continued lower living standards. That's one of the reasons why I believe most people are gravitating to populism. They want their taxes to take care of their country and the people first. And that's not what is happening right now. And it's why every leader's responsibility is to take care of their country's economy, security, and their people first. At the heart of this are two timeless leadership principles: resource management and public priorities. Resource management means wisely handling a nation's money, assets, and energy so they build strength at home instead of wasting them abroad. Public priorities means putting your own people and country first every time, making sure the hard-working citizens get the real benefits of growth and security. Policies like tariffs, tax cuts, protecting farmers for food security, making drug prices affordable, deregulation, vigorously restricting illegal migration, fiscal responsibility, and energy dominance are some key ways of achieving wealth and security for the nation and its people by putting these two principles into practice. Be the leader who is willing to take care of your people first. Your credibility and your political future depends on it. Be the leader who not only talks about making improvements, but sincerely wants to see your nation and your people succeed. You must have a fire, a passion to see your people succeed. Obstacles may come, but the people will support you if they see that you are genuinely making the effort. If you are a leader watching this today, look at every dollar, every policy, every decision and ask, does this build wealth and security for my own people first? Put resource management and public priorities into action now, because that is how you earn trust and create a strong nation that lasts. If you have benefited in any way from this video, please subscribe, like, share, and be sure to leave us a comment.